Happy to be here with you. So when they asked me whether I could squeeze into 15 minutes the story and the meaning of success, I thought it's actually impossible. But indeed, there was someone who was able to do it in 4 minutes. And so I'm going to use this work. It's a video that explains pretty well what the project is about.
The challenge to be taken up by cities in the future to be more sustainable and citizen-friendly while remaining internationally attractive is considerable, and their expansion fuels the need to build new infrastructures and to renovate already existing ones. Construction works in urban areas can cause significant nuisance to the citizens. Safety hazards, congestion, noise, air pollution, many are caused or heightened by logistics activities in and around the construction site. Construction professionals also struggle when it comes to organising their projects. Long waiting times for trucks, often in front of the sites, the lack of space to receive and stock materials, the insecurity and the risk of damage and loss of goods due to exposition to bad weather make construction logistics a real conundrum. This challenge is aggravated by the fragmentation of the construction sector and the great number of actors involved. According to the European Commission, the construction industry accounts today for 40% of the European Union's total energy consumption and produces about 35% of all greenhouse gas emissions. A possibility to mitigate these issues could be offered by the implementation of smart storage centres to optimise the delivery of materials by consolidating them in dedicated areas. These so-called Construction Consolidation Centres, CCCs, are hubs close to urban centres with easier access for suppliers to deliver their goods and enough space for big trucks to do unloading operations and manoeuvres. Here, construction materials can be safely stored and deliveries can be better organised to increase their fluidity and react to urgent needs from the construction sites. The Success Project assesses the feasibility and potential positive impacts of these CCCs. Funded by the H2020 programme, Success encompasses 4 pilot sites in Luxembourg, Paris, Valencia and Verona. It includes a consortium of 11 partners from the public and private sectors, research groups, construction companies, local authorities and professional organisations. Its final results show that the implementation of CCCs can reduce by 65% the number of daily trips to the construction site, with a major impact on congestion, safety and pollution. The citizens would not be the only beneficiaries from the use of a CCC. The Success Project shows that a positive return on the overall budget of the construction project is possible. Preparatory works could, for example, be carried out at the CCC to smoothen the construction activities and to increase their cost effectiveness. The case for a CCC strongly depends on the context. Therefore, Success provides tools that can help construction companies and local authorities decide if, how and where to implement them, as well as propose fitting improvements for each specific construction site, based on best practices collected all over Europe and the US. These tools are freely available for all on our website, www.success-urbanlogistics.eu.
So you have understood. In any case, the project is about improving the supply chain of construction projects. That's a pretty important subject in many cities. It is for sure in Brussels. It is for sure in Luxembourg City, where I live, where the population grew by more than 30% in the last 10 years. You can imagine the pressure this puts on construction. And of course, construction means a lot of materials that have to be delivered to the sites, often with big trucks. There is a lot of congestion that is created by those trucks that come from very far apart. There is a lot of noise. There is, in general, a lot of disturbance that is created to the districts where these works take place. And so the idea of Success was to try and imagine how we could improve the transportation of goods to the construction sites. And in fact, we started from the consideration that, as we can immediately tell when we look at construction works, construction is an industry that hasn't undergone such an innovative evolution as other industrial sectors. It's an industry where works are still done in the ancient way they were done centuries ago, apart from a few exceptions. It's an industry that normally doesn't have a specific know-how about logistics, so the people who handle the goods on site and take care of the transportation, they might not be expert of that. They are construction expert and not freight transport expert. And so this creates a lot of room for improvement in the sector. And this is where success tried to work. This is the consortium of our partners. It's again a mix of 11 partners coming basically from research, from construction industry. So we got a lot of experts in our real construction works happened to go, and they really helped us refine all the hypotheses and the scientific work that was done by the scientific side. And there are policy experts, people who know how to communicate and to transfer these results to the institutions and to the stakeholders at large, and how to take care of their input in defining what the project should do. The project revolved around the 4 main pilot sites. These were 4 construction sites in the cities of Luxembourg City, Paris in France, Valencia in Spain, and Verona in Italy. You can have a look at the details of those sites on the screen. I will only say that these sites were very diverse, in size, were diverse in the budget they had, in the nature of the company, who was the general contractor for the site, ranging from small, medium companies to very large ones, and in the nature of the works, ranging from converting former industrial plants into residential real estate or commercial real estate, or a mix of the two, to creating a new palace for the Prime Minister of France, to transforming and renovating an hospital in the city of Verona without interrupting the functioning of the hospital. And you can immediately understand how complex it is to not affect that specific population, which is a very special one, and where you really need to work around people and to let things happen normally and life go on as it was before, while building a new hospital aside. So what we focused mainly on, but not only, but mainly, is the concept of a consolidation center for construction, a CCC. And the concept of consolidation centers is probably familiar to many of you, as some of you come from the logistics sector, but it is rarely applied to construction. There are a few examples around. There are examples in London of a permanent and still operating CCC. There were examples in the Netherlands and in Sweden of temporary consolidation centers for construction. Not all of them did actually work well. Some were only temporary because they were related to very specific sets of projects. The idea of the project was to try and see what would happen, what would have happened if we had the possibility to apply a consolidation center to all the 4 pilots. So of course we cannot rerun the construction projects with a consolidation center, so we will never know. But what we did was to collect data along a period of 8 months about all the deliveries that were made to these sites, and to imagine from what we had collected how these deliveries would have been impacted if a consolidation center had been in place, and even to project this in the future. So to say, for the future works, more or less we know what construction works will happen in the 4 cities in the next 3 years. What would be the aggregate effect of 1 or more consolidation centers serving 1 or more construction sites with different business models to this, to the logistics, to the total freight transport that is related to those construction sites. So the idea is of the CCC, as you see in the picture there, is that there are some special cases, and these are the ones represented on top, where you do not go through the consolidation center because maybe your truck is already 100% loaded, or because you are transporting something, typically cement, for instance, where transshipment to another kind of truck or aggregation is actually not possible. And in that case, the trucks would still go directly to the sites, so nothing is changed. But in all other cases where consolidation of different transports from different kinds of materials into a specialized delivery for the construction site, which actually mixes different types of load and which is always done with the optimal mean of transport that the CCC can use in that moment. This can have a major impact on the quality and on all the parameters that are related to this transport. Because what we have observed is that in several cases, for instance, the load factor of the trucks delivering on site was very low, sometimes less than 50%. And of course, we can immediately understand what is the room for improvement there. And the CCCs can only do a lot of other things. They are not just there for consolidating and delivering, but they can offer, for instance, safe storage. They can offer specialized people who know how to work, how to handle materials properly, and they can offer a range of other services. So they can be seen as more than simply an intermediate warehouse. There are a lot of benefits that we can observe that are listed in these slides here for construction companies. These are about improved productivity. You can switch to almost entirely just-in-time deliveries. You can gain in the number of trucks that are actually in time, that are not delayed, for instance, by a traffic jam because they were able to deliver the night before, maybe at the consolidation center, which works 24-hour days and 7 days a week. And you can go around the kind of regulations that some cities have enforced and that today make trucks wait for hours before they get the window of opportunity to actually reach the site if it is in the city center. You can improve the safety, of course, because if you reduce the number of trips and organize logistics with people who have a better know-how, this immediately brings a benefit to the safety. And you can reduce the congestion on the construction sites because the number of trucks that are loading, unloading, and waiting to load or unload is substantially reduced. There are, of course, benefits also for the suppliers, the carriers, because as you said already, they can travel in more favorable moments of the day, so they can reduce their actual journey time, they can count on some flexibility, and they can increase the number of deliveries that are done in time. And there are very important advantages for the local authorities in terms of the reduced impact, let's say, on the city centers and or on the city districts that are affected by these construction works. And this is just a table. We will have time to go through these numbers and you will have details. There's a demo, a number of demos actually, and the poster below. But here is the numbers for the cities. And the first column is what we had promised to reach in terms of the reduction of the number of trips, the pollutant emissions that are associated to those, the total distance traveled, the number of small deliveries, and the increase in the load factor. And you see the numbers for the 4 cities. And you can see that in general, the results are pretty good, and sometimes they were even better than we were expecting at the beginning of the project. And there is also a calculation on the payback period. So there will be a presentation tomorrow in one of the parallel sessions about the cost benefits analysis for the CCCs, where you will have a chance to go into the details. But let's say that we found that generally the payback is very short. And of course, this depends on a number of conditions that need to be explained, in special the possibility to, let's say, reach economies of scale, which means that the CCC should either serve a very large construction site or a very large number of construction sites, and to find the appropriate model in each different cities. But the numbers are quite promising here too. And so what we are leaving as a legacy of the projects is a set of tools that the people, meaning the local authorities or the construction companies or the transport companies, or also the research community that is interested into the logistics of construction, they will have a chance through our website and through the tangible table that I encourage you to go and visit downstairs, because a full working demo of that tool is there, and it's pretty interesting for those who have seen it. So the idea is that we can provide for your project or projects either a preliminary cost-benefit analysis or a tool which will tell you, based on your projects and the suppliers that you will use, what would be the optimal location of the consolidation center for your project or projects, what are the solutions to improve the logistics of your construction work. There are in a handbook that is pictured there on the right, more than 60 different solutions. I only spoke about the CCC, but there are many low-hanging fruits that you can implement very easily at a very little cost, that are specialized for certain sites. And we will help you through an interactive tool to know what are the best solutions for your specific project.